large primates have been walking the earth with us, and they still do today. And there's an example. It's Bigfoot. All right, now some believe and some don't, but you cannot deny the evidence. Go ahead.
Are you ready, Carter? Throughout history, the urban myth known as Sasquatch, or as Dudu called it, Bigfoot, has oftentimes been talked about as a major issue. My opposition may tell you that Bigfoot is real, and it has been cited in many pictures and certain things of that nature. However, many of the photos we see of Bigfoot are very spotty, and it's oftentimes hard to tell if it's a tree branch or if it's actually there's actually a big old ape. So scientists have found no bones or fossil evidence that Bigfoot ever existed, and for this reason, Bigfoot is nothing but a hoax.
Whatever, bro.
Someone filming this?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Alright, ready?
Bruh. Yeah.
Is this a real link?
Go.
It's
Yeah,
like
I'll try to explain the
like
picture. It's like kind of
Bin Laden's
Right.
webpage.
Alright, look. It says proxy.
Oh.
Do I need to stop? Guys, he's trying to get.
No, he's trying to load the video. We're talking to him to see if we can load the video.
I'll do it like in
He's already
Oh,
said he'll
okay.
explain it. Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
The idea of Bigfoot. Why would someone not think he's real? Now, over 250,000 years ago, over that time, humans have shared the earth with a lot of extinct primates. Some are big or bigger than Bigfoot. If it were true that Bigfoot isn't real, then it would be the first time in human history that we have not coexisted with these primates. Now this isn't gonna make much sense, but it was a big animal. It would look kind of apish, but it wasn't really. It was more of a Bigfoot looking stature. But
Wait, look it up.
I really can't, but I'm gonna have to. So the animal that I was gonna show, it would be Bigfoot if it were alive today. It would be what we consider Bigfoot. Now it existed about 9 million to 100,000 years ago, and this doesn't make sense in this reference, you know. But it stood as much as 10 feet tall and weighed over half a ton. Now, why should this picture that's not here make you believe? That's because there is precedence for large primates today, and Bigfoot would be the precedence for the animal that I showed. But and out of all the crazy things that are happening today, like yesterday I mentioned the dinosaur eggs being found. Now, why is it so hard to believe that there is a large primate that we call Bigfoot walking with us today? And why is science rejecting the notion of Bigfoot so much?
Are you gonna show the video?
I mean, you can show it now.
Or you want to
Wait,
show it?
show it when you're gonna show it.
Yes,
Don't
sir.
let them talk.
Yeah, I was just wondering. Can you take time?
Alright, you ready?
No. I've discussed many reasons today why Bigfoot is a myth. First off, Bigfoot does not have that great of clear footage. Yes, there was a video taken by a man named Roger Patterson, and I would show you that footage today, but I don't have a proxy server to log into, so I apologize for that. But the footage essentially shows so-called Bigfoot walking into the woods away, and it's very spotty because the man who's running the camera is very, very blurry, and it's quite hard to tell if he's actually filming what is known as Bigfoot. So this is what makes video evidence so difficult. Now, another problem with when we look at Bigfoot, if he exists or not, is he's often mistaken for other types of animals or trees or something like that in the woods. For example, this right here is a picture of a black bear, and a black bear is when it stands on its hind legs, it stands about 7 feet tall to 8 feet tall, depending on the male or female, if it's a male or female. And this was actually a piece of logical evidence to people that Bigfoot existed for a long time. Bears such as this are oftentimes mistaken for Bigfoot, and since we do not have any accurate measurements from eyewitness accounts how big Bigfoot actually would be if he was real, we don't know what to compare him to. Another key issue is Bigfoot does not fit in the food chain. According to certain scientists according to studies made by scientists at Oxford University, studies have shown that Bigfoot would need at least 5,000 to 10,000 calories from meat, just meat alone, a day, which would cause a significant decrease in the animal population where Bigfoot may live if he existed. And so, this would cause a large deficit the animals within the food chain. So we haven't seen that decrease. So in areas where Bigfoot was cited, we have not seen a decrease in the amount of meat there. So how does he exist if there hasn't been that change?
He eats air.
He eats doo-doo Oreos. No. Another problem with Bigfoot is that he's too large to go unnoticed. As a lot of times, Bigfoot when he has been cited by people, he is often described as being 8 feet to 9 feet tall and weighing up to 500 to 600 pounds. And so surveillance would have picked this type of thing up. Something that big cannot go unnoticed for so long unless he's hiding away somewhere.
He's a hide and seek champion, bro.
So years ago, and even now, no aerial footage or any heat waves of Bigfoot have been found in recent years. Also, let's think of this logical evidence. Thousands of species are discovered each year, new species that we never even have heard of. And a lot of times they're very, very small. You find, birds, and you find different types of snakes and small things. And that's the point, they're small. It's not like it's not like you find an elephant every year or something. That would be like the same type of thing as finding Bigfoot. It would be an extreme. Oh, bro, that's more time.
All right, so Brian, you're gonna cross-examine.
I know he
It's
is.
a doo-doo freezer.
Guys, you've got to go, we're running out of time.
Okay, go do your.
Okay, so we're doing the cross-examination.
Yeah.
Alright. So like I said earlier, science is really quick to reject the notion of Bigfoot, but why? I mean, why are they so quick to reject the idea of a large primate living on this planet when humans and other large primates have lived side by side for tens of thousands of years?
So you are right about one thing. There actually was a large primate known as the Gigantopithecus boyhi.
That's the picture that
And it was about a 10-foot, 1,200-pound ape that lived in China thousands of years ago. Now, I understand that this may be seen as the Bigfoot of that time. However, the problem being, we have not found any evidence that animal is obviously extinct at this point, but we have not found any evidence in North America or really anywhere else in the world but one fossil in China that ever existed. And so recent accounts of, how can we take this and compare that to recent accounts of Bigfoot in America? We have to, or anywhere in the world, if there's only been one, or if they existed 100,000 years ago and they are extinct, how can those types of primates exist today? Evolution.
Alright, I'm just gonna go ahead and ask that question. Alright, if it's possible, this is like ancient stuff. If it's possible for large primates to exist in Africa, then why is it so impossible for them to exist in other parts of the planet? I'm saying this because you say he's not real, and like he's always like discovered in different parts of the world.
Yeah, sure. So when you look at large primates, they live in different types of climates. Africa has a much more tropical climate, and you have to look at that. You have apes and monkeys in certain places living in different parts of Africa because it has a different type of climate that they live in. In America, you don't necessarily have that, and so you're not going to find a large primate like that in America just out of the blue anywhere.
Switch.
Okay. So, you say that that science is quick to judge. However, as I was saying before, although these scientists account that Bigfoot does not exist, they take that into account. So, my point is they have been studying fossils for a long time, and including the one I was talking about. And they said that is the only type of fossil which could have been linked to Bigfoot at all, and that type of animal was extinct 100,000 years ago. So how can you explain people making accounts of these in recent years?
So that's the only fossil that it can be connected to, so that's why the sites of it are so rare.
But if it went extinct 100,000 years ago, and that is known evidence from this fossil here, yes, this is from the whatever the thing is, this is the one fossil they found to prove it. Then how can, if it went extinct 100,000 years ago, then how can we still be seeing sightings of it today?
Dude, it's like the thing is evolving basically, and it's like just going down, and it's not making
And then so also another problem that we often will see with Bigfoot is his breeding problem. If Bigfoot was okay. Bigfoot was alive. It is suggested by scientists they would need let's see. They would need tens of thousands of. He would need lots of mates in order to sustain a Bigfoot population if he existed. So how can you explain there's only one sighting of Bigfoot? There's multiple sightings of there's only one Bigfoot and he's seen alone every time. Then how can you bring that into account?
I mean, if you would think about it, I mean, he would obviously have some kind of family that he's been mating with and stuff, and they just keep going down like
Then
that.
where are they?
They're doing some weird incest stuff in the cave somewhere.
Where does he live, Doo-Doo? He lives in a cave. That's one point.
Okay, time for.
The doo-doo
for
chamber.
this
The
thing.
Doo-Doo. The Doo-Doo secrets.
Alright, you ready?
I'll talk about that.
Alright, hopefully the debunked stuff that I said today has persuaded you to believe in Bigfoot. I mean, I still believe. One day Bigfoot will come out, and one day Bigfoot will be known to everyone. So then I'm just gonna have to let the evidence speak for itself.
Okay.
Dad, wait, you like doo-doo on himself.
Alright, go ahead.
Okay. In conclusion, looking at
It's done.
looking
It's
at
done.
Bigfoot's existence, there's not enough evidence to prove he exists. Scientists have found no evidence that says he can relate to any other species in North America, so how can the sightings of it be true? Also, many times Bigfoot, there's currently a $1 million award for Bigfoot. This year was an attempt to figure it out. These two men put a big ape costume in a freezer and threw a squid in there to make it look like food. So they're trying to make it seem, they're trying to collect the reward by doing this type of thing. So eyewitness accounts of Bigfoot are quite spotty. And, whether this was Doo-Doo's actions or not, we may not know. But if, eyewitness accounts can't always be spotty, and you never may know the true evidence of what is happening. So, with this being said, Bigfoot is not real.